Your GIN experience in your college applications. I'm Rachael Gerbic. I'm one of the high school counselors here at Carroll Morgan School.
Mike Vandeloo, the other high school counselor.
And our goal for today is to have you hopefully be able to walk away with a piece of writing that will be useful in various parts of your college application process. We're going to walk you through that.
The reason why some of you have paper, recycled paper by the way, and computers, there's obviously a lot of students on campus and they had to kind of split up the mobile labs. So we got as many as we could. Those of you that are using the mobile labs, what's great is you can, some of the work that we'll do today, you can actually physically obviously do it on a form and send it to yourself when you have it. Otherwise, those people that have the paper base, write your notes, that's something that you can bring home with you. What we're really hoping in the end of the day is that you have some type of product. Obviously, this is a skills-based workshop, so something that you're bringing home, or at least have started to brainstorm, or some written piece that you're bringing back to you wherever you're going to, okay? So, without further ado, one of the things, I think anytime you go to a conference, or you hear slogans for your school, you hear it over and over and over again. You can talk to some of the CMS students from here, and we have the slogan for this year is Carpe Diem. You guys have probably heard it 1,000,001 times, to the point where you almost, you hear it and it goes in one ear and out the other. And so we want to take a step back before we go forward and really think about the logo or the slogan for GIN, which is Make It Happen. And obviously there is a large symbolism to this, and we really just want to kind of, not to insult anybody's intelligence here, but kind of walk through what this means to us as presenters and what you can kind of take a step back and think about prior to going forward. Okay, so what does it really mean, make it happen? I mean, obviously it seems pretty simple, but if you're looking at it, make, form by putting parts together and combining substances, create. So there's a creative process to this, causing something to exist or bringing about. So really what we're saying and what you've experienced here and seen, all you guys have come on campus and probably taken something that hasn't existed in your home country or school and made it happen, okay? What we're doing today is hopefully some of the basics are there, but you're drawing something that you have and bringing it about and creating something that you're going to be using in your college application process. It isn't that simple, okay? You do have to put some effort into it. Obviously, it is referring to a thing, and that's this GIN experience today. And then happen is a place to take place, occur, and experience by. So obviously, to occur or to make happen, something has to go into it. Some form of energy has to be put into that. And it just reminds us that this is not just something that comes out of the air. You'll be writing your application, and boom, your application is beautiful by not putting a lot of effort into it. Okay? So what we're hoping today is that you can take some of this stuff, start to apply, and really start that process of the application. Can I ask, how many people are going to be seniors next year? Okay, the majority of you are actually going to be seniors. So this is something that realistically, when you start thinking about a time frame, this is a perfect timing for you, because realistically, you should be starting to think about a variety of things that we're talking about. Those that didn't raise your hand, you're fortunate you have a couple of years to put this all together. Okay. When we talk about making it happen, I think some of the things that you need to draw upon today is the past. What have you done? And we're going to specifically go into that in a little bit. What have you done in the past? What are you doing at this conference? But sometimes even more important, and some of the things that the colleges are going to be looking at, is what are you doing in the future? So if you start to talk about, oh, this is a great experience, I was a fantastic leader, these are some of the things I did, but you walk away from this GIN process and then didn't do anything with it, you're going to scratch out a large piece of what your application could look like. Right? If you can take the substance of what you've learned here today and apply it to whatever your group is doing, and even make this better, and talk about that experience, or maybe even look at what it's going to look like on campus, right? If you have a passion about something, you're hoping to do it in high school, but possibly in the future as well. So we want to reiterate the fact that it's not just about what you've done coming up here, it's not just about what you've done here at GIN, it's also about what you guys are going to do in the future, okay? And that's the process that you're going to have to go through in terms of brainstorming and coming up with solutions and ideas about what you want to do. Okay? All right. I took this from, not this photo, but everybody saw Rob yesterday, and one of the things I liked about what he was saying is it really comes down to no excuses. If you're going to do something, and I can say this for our senior class, every senior class that I met with from here to Bolivia, another school here in Santo Domingo, we have people that make it happen, and we have other people that have a ton of excuses, okay? And we don't give a lot of attention to those excuses, but the end product of those people that don't make excuses typically are much better. Okay, so really when it comes down to it, your application can be as great as you want it to be. Okay, obviously based on what you've done or not done. But you have to remember the slide, even this little child can lift that much weight. Or like Rob said, like the 7th graders did the carbon report. That's pretty amazing. That's a 7th grader versus a president of a university. Okay, so no excuses. All right. What we're going to show you real briefly today, we're going to start to talk about where you can, quote unquote, leverage this GIN process. Okay, and there's multiple different areas that you can look at this. Now, real quick, I'm going to back up and show you a couple things. There's a packet of information that is located, those of you that have the computer, it's right here, okay, on your laptop already. Those of you that don't have it, we'll show you a slide later. But if we can go to the packet real quick, Gianni. Okay. Can you scroll down a little bit?
You'll do it.
Oh, yeah.
And this is linked up on the website.
So you can go to, I'll show you the link later, but essentially if you go into conference program, and then underneath that it'll say skilled workshops, and then underneath there, there'll be the part that says GIN, your college application. It's blue, you can click on it, and this is what comes up. So a lot of the information here that you'll be given today, we didn't want to give you a packet and waste paper. You can physically go on the web and use this, okay? So I'm just going to real quick go through a few of the things in the areas that we want to talk about how to leverage. Okay, number one, okay, we are going to be going into talking about, your personality, interests, your attributes, etc. We're going to brainstorm some of that today, but you can also use this to kind of pinpoint what you want to do, put it on a piece of paper, and eventually give it to your counselor and or teachers that are writing letters of recommendation. Okay. We are also, we are not going to, we'd love to have you walk away with a small piece of writing your own letter of recommendation, whether that's just a paragraph of some sort. But I provided a piece of, or a slide here as well, that you can go in and physically write your letter of recommendation for you, because sometimes if you want a good letter of recommendation, you do have to remind those people that are writing those letters of recommendation all the awesome things that you've done. Okay, we have 150 some students each. While we know each one fairly well, we don't know everything that they've done in and outside of class. Okay. Moving on, we've also provided a few things that you can give to your teacher that's for letters of recommendation, so some quick key questions that they might want to see from you. The interview process, if any of you guys have an interview for a college, etc., these are some questions that they may ask. We provided you the essay prompts for the college, the common application for next year. It will not change, so you could already be starting to think about what you want to write for your essay, and some tips on writing letters of recommendation, or I'm sorry, writing your essay. Okay, so there's a variety of different information that you can be utilizing and take. Once you leave from here, you can go back on the website and get that. Okay. All right. So we went kind of through this. These are the 6 main areas that we think where you can leverage your application or the GIN experience. Number 1, in your application itself, there's an activity section. It doesn't give you a great deal of area for depth, but obviously you need to be talking about this experience. Okay. Number 2, an essay. If you're really passionate about it and it's something that you feel strongly about and you want that to come out in your application, an essay is one of the best places to write about it, or in your short answer questions on your application. 3, counselor letters of recommendation. we always ask for a senior packet, which has some of this information where our seniors will physically write out some of their attributes. They'll write their own letter of recommendation. Sometimes we do a small informal interview with them to get out all that really great detail maybe about the GIN experience that we can write about. Okay, so if that isn't the process at your school, you need to think about how you define that and how you come up with a substance that you can give to the people that are writing your letters of recommendation. Okay? That's most likely for this experience is probably coming through the counselor versus the teacher, because the teacher is going to be looking more at what you do in the classroom. Right? Ms. Gerbic and I will probably 100% be talking about a GIN experience, or at least a paragraph would be based around GIN and potentially around maybe a passion or leadership or something else that comes out. College interview, like I said, some of you will have a college interview, some of you won't, but that's a fantastic thing to be talking about, your experience, what you've done in the past, this weekend, or in the future. Your resume, some colleges do ask for a resume as well, so obviously that's important to include. And then also, many of you will be visiting colleges over the summer, or maybe already have. If you go in and talk to the admissions officer, or sometimes you have emails back and forth, communication with that college, or a college comes on campus. Those are all ways to talk about yourself and what you've done. And so one of the things that we try to tell our students, when we have a college come on campus, and let's pretend Ms. Gerbic's the college admission rep, when I go up to her and talk to her, and I can say something awesome about GIN, there's a good chance that, number one, I have to fill out an information card, right? My address, my phone number, my email, so they can contact me, right? But also, there's a good chance that she's going to write some notes and say, wow, this person did this great group project at their school, and they're looking forward to do that same, or essentially the same thing on our campus. We don't have anything like that. How awesome it would be to have that person on campus. Okay? And they may write down a little note, so when you email them later on, they already start the process of knowing who you are as a person before your application even gets into their office. Does that make sense? So that's another way to think about how you kind of portray yourself, or the picture that you want to paint about yourself. Okay. All right. We are going to watch a small video. And so one of the things, while this is going up, I just want you guys to think about this person. This is a Tufts video supplement. Not every, you guys most likely won't have to do this unless you're applying to Tufts. Just think about some of their attributes and what this person is trying to exemplify and get across in their application.
Born on Friday the 13th. Some may be troubled by this auspicious start, but 13 has always been a pretty lucky number for me. Here are 13 things about me. I'm obsessed with organization. I clean my friends' closets for fun. I'm addicted to slam poetry. I've been on varsity lacrosse and soccer for 4 years. One of my proudest possessions has been the Summer Bridge Spirit Stick. My 7th grade students honor me with the award of the teacher that embodied spirit the most. I love TED. It's an organization that draws people from all around the world to connect and share their ideas worth spreading. My favorite book is extremely loud and incredibly close. I sing everywhere and pretend my shower is the American Idol stage. I love to draw. It helps me slow down and relax. I am known for my Halloween costumes. My favorite costume so far has been the octopus. I love to write. I've written 2 editorials for the Providence Journal. My favorite class is contemporary world issues. You will often find me in the senior room passionately debating with hardcore conservatives in my free time. I'm taking these young Republicans on a field trip to Occupy Boston to show them what's up. Because you see, I really do love elephants and want to save them. All a part of being a potential jumbo, I guess.
So, as you watch that video, you can just raise your hand. What are the things that jumped out to you? If you were a college admission officer and you were watching this, what are some of the things that jumped out to you in terms of, wow? Yes?
Uniqueness.
I'm sorry?
Like unique.
Uniqueness, and how was she unique?
Well, to say like when she was good, or for college application, she did video, just telling what were the good things about her and what she liked.
Okay. What else? Yes.
She was a really well-rounded student because she was interested in politics. She also made a reference to like the Republican Party and how their symbol is an elephant. And then She also likes reading and drawing, and she's also in sports, so she does a lot of extracurricular activities.
And I think that's a really important point, because a lot of times we look at GPA and SAT scores, etc., but you'll look at the stats of people getting in or not getting in, and a lot of times the difference that shakes out those exceptions or not exceptions are often the letters of recommendation of what you've done in extracurricular activities. What are some other things that jumped out to you guys? Anything else?
No, it's more experience.
Okay, and why did that jump out to you?
That's not like something you see in values.
Okay, and perfect, that's something that I was going to bring up too. If you're looking for a student that goes above and beyond the classroom, that's it right there. It's not like your homework is to go write 2 articles for the Providence Journal, right, or the newspaper. So she's obviously so interested in, and she loves writing, and she's so passionate about writing that she actually physically shows it by going outside of the school and doing something above and beyond that. Yes?
Something else was that she was open with her personality. It wasn't just what she did, it was like how what she did reflected how she was.
Exactly. And I think one of the things that shines out to me is like she's super passionate and spirited, and it seems like she wants to get involved and make a difference right on our campus. And that's a pretty exciting person to have on campus because they're doing a variety of things and they have a lot of energy and love and passion and give back to the learning community, which is often something the colleges want to know about. How are you going to impact their learning community? Anything else? Okay.
So now what we'd like to do is move on to sort of the skills, the action part of this workshop, which is for you to start thinking about and writing about yourselves. So this is a great image to kind of conjure up for you. What are the things that make you really stand out from the crowd? You know that thousands of applicants apply every year and they're all doing amazing things like you. But how do you make yourself stand out from that group? What is unique about you? Like the girl in the video, she really emphasized those inner qualities and what was important to her. So we'd like you to just take a minute now and start brainstorming some of the things that make you unique and that you would want colleges to know, that aren't going to be obvious through your test scores and your transcript, like Mr. Vandeloo said, but are things that only you would know, or only your family would know, or only your friends would know about you, that you want colleges to know. Those are the things that you get a chance to really talk about in writing. That's what's great about the North American system, is that you really have a chance to express yourself in all these other ways. It's not just test scores. That's cool. So be thinking as we move into the next section here about some of those qualities you have, and especially about how they're brought out here in this conference. What brought you here today? Why are you at this conference in the first place? I'm sure there are many of your colleagues who stayed behind and didn't come along. So there were obviously things that were important to you that made you want to come, and maybe you led a workshop, and maybe you were in charge of a group. And those are the kind of qualities that you should be thinking about specifically for this workshop. Let's move on to the next one. Oops, is there one before that? Are you switching? We would like to have you jump off the page, right? They're going to be reading thousands of applications every day once they get all of the applications in. The admissions people read thousands of applications. What is it about you that's going to make you jump off that page? So that's what you're going to come away with today, that little piece of writing that's going to do that for you. Because like Mr. Vandeloo said as well, it's sometimes that gets you in, that little piece of writing that makes a difference where everything else is equal. There's something about you in your writing that really stood out to the admissions people, and that's what we want to get you to think about today. And it's not bragging. I know it's very hard sometimes to write about yourselves. It's kind of awkward to say, I'm so great at this and this and this. But this is the time to not be shy. You really have to put yourselves out there and highlight your greatest strengths, because that's what everyone else will be doing. Okay? So let's just go here. Those of you who are on the computers, you have this document in front of you. You can scroll down to the second page, and there's a list of these qualities. Just be thinking about all of the different attributes that describe you, qualities that describe just you. Be thinking about how your friends might describe you, how your parents would describe you, how do your teachers talk about you, what kind of feedback have you ever received on your report cards. Be thinking of all those words that people use to describe you, even if you don't describe yourself that way. Sometimes people say, wow, you're a really amazing speaker. I didn't know you had that in you. Maybe you are terrified of public speaking, but other people see that in you. So those are your attributes, things that describe you. And what we'd like you to think about as well is different situations where you could explain that a little bit further. And those are anecdotes. Anecdotes are little stories about your attributes. Okay, so for every attribute, think of a situation where that was true. Okay? I'm going to just take a minute to write, those of you who have the paper, just to jot down some of those unique attributes. That was a perfect word that you brought out, the uniqueness of each of you. So write down some of those attributes and be connecting them to a specific situation or anecdote you can think of. You don't have to write out the anecdote. Right?
So we'll give a few minutes, like 5 minutes I'd say, or a little bit less, and then we'll come back and share those and talk about that a little bit.
And this is just brainstorming. There's no wrong answer, right? You're just brainstorming things about you, things that make you unique.
Or about your GIN experience.
Yeah, specifically here, what have you brought here that's unique to this conference?
If you guys have questions, just raise your hand.
Sometimes people ask if they can use a negative quality. That's fine. I see up here, I don't know if this is necessarily negative, but goofy and loud could be considered negative qualities, right? But it's all how you leverage that. If you're goofy and that helps to ease the tension in certain situations, and you can explain that and write about how that quality in you is a good quality, then that's okay. Those don't have to be negative qualities. It's just how you use them to make the world a better place, or how you've used them here at GIN to make this conference better. Just write as many words as you can think of. Does anyone help you help with words or vocabulary? Sometimes it helps to get. Oh no, it can be, but it's going to be used in writing. So this is just for you to have a bank of words or sentences, descriptors. Yeah, you could just like slap. But be thinking in your head how that connects to the sentences. And if you have that energy, you say like, oh yeah, that's kind of that. What do you parents say?
You can also describe yourself as an empath. But that's sort of. It's when you start talking about something.
So the question, what are they proud of?
I love who I am. También yo
So you're words.
So I guess I just think what I want. I think I want to work hard. active environmental studies. I try to find things to love animals personal lives. You're very like more conscious. Self-conscious. Negativamente. Oh, you are self-aware. You are aware of obviously. You're conscious of the environment. Yo soy yo I love politics. Yo no sé qué se escribe, yo no estoy. Ya también porque no soy súper ansiosa. Yo soy muy dramática. Yo sé que sí. I'm not gonna lie. I have the opposite of our okay, you are
Okay, maybe just another minute, and then we want to come back together, share out for a little bit, and then we're going to kind of move forward and give you some time to write.
Yo también. Confident. Brave. Pero yo soy brave. ¿Cómo se dice? Como que globally. No voy a decir como globally. I'm really jealous. Sorry, lo voy a decir ya. Environmentally conscious. I'm a big
Okay, guys, we're gonna give you time to come back to this in a second and add on to it, but we kind of want to share out, speak a little bit about some other advice that we can give to you, and then give you time to do some more writing. Okay? Does anybody want to share some of the things that they wrote about? So whether it's an anecdote, some type of story that's showing what you've done, or a description of what you've done, etc. Anybody want to share?
Yeah, does anyone think they have a good example that might help the others?
Like, do you just want us to list our characteristics? Is that it?
Depends on what you wrote down.
Okay, I'm sarcastic, I'm very assertive. I didn't know that Curacao existed until I came to this conference. And all of the people that I met were really nice. I love the people from that country. I plan to work in politics, and I love politics. I'm really well informed in everything that, like global politics. And I've been in SILA and GIN, and I plan on studying environmental law. I'm very dramatic. I'm opinionative, passionate, controlling, stressed, anxious. I'm trying to be green, but I eat a lot of meat. I gesticulate a lot. I'm funny. I love myself. I'm confident, brave. I'm a global citizen, a visionary, future-orientated, angry, and a leader.
Perfect.
We'll
That pretty much summed it up.
We'll come back to all of these. So anybody else want to share? Should just wrap it up for everybody? Or is that,
That was kind of a hard act.
is that good? Yeah.
What was important about what you said, what is your name?
Gabriela.
Gabriela. What Gabriela said is that she highlighted a lot of her sort of what we might think of as negative qualities, like I said, but also you might be thinking about ways that those are important in making change. Okay, so that's okay to list those and add those into your essays, as long as you're thinking about those anecdotes and areas where that's useful to you.
Can we get one or two more to share? That'd be awesome. Just because I think there's a point to all this too.
In a way, I'm stubborn, persistent, like when people tell me that something is not possible to do and very difficult, the first thing I do not take like no for an answer. I do my best to reach the goal I want, even though I know it's going to be like hard to do and may not be possible.
Okay. Let me share thoughts.
I'm caring and hopelessly friendly to the point where it gets awkward. I'm confident, I'm fierce yet calm. I'm just, I'm a teacher. I care about the world, I care about my country. I want to make others care. I'm brave, I'm versatile, responsible, empathetic, joyful, creative. I love fast rides with the wind and water. I feel a responsibility to care for others, the world, and for doing what is right. I'm disciplined and I'm driven.
Great. Nice job.
Anybody else want to share? Okay, so there's a couple things that jump out to me. Okay, first is I think when we write letters of recommendation, sometimes we ask for descriptions, words that describe you, which is fantastic. But realistically, what we want to do, so you jump off that paper, like this little guy here that was here before. To jump off the paper, we want to hear a story about it. Okay, if you're all these things, are you angry? But also, you're angry, but also you want to do something for an environment, and you're trying, so that anger could be channeled into something that gives you passion to want to make a change. Okay, and that's also where we come back to this. Are you passionate? All you guys here, hopefully, are passionate about something. So when you look at those words that you're talking about, how do those correlate with what you're doing at GIN? How can you share the experiences of what you've been through, what you're going through right now, and what you're possibly going to go through in the future to make you jump off the page? And I bring this up a lot of times, as we were discussing yesterday. If you take BU, for example, Boston University, regular decision, 50,000 applicants, okay? And I would imagine that a lot of Central and South American schools often apply to Boston schools. That's obviously a bigger school, but you're talking 50,000 applicants just for regular decision. How do you use things such as competence or any of the other descriptive words that you're saying and make that different? Because I bet you out of those 50,000, maybe 20 might be competent, or 30, whatever it is. How do you differentiate that? If you've gone to the GIN conference, I guarantee that if you start sharing experiences, some of your experiences are very similar to other people here. How do you take that and make it different? How do you make it your own? So if you look at a letter of recommendation or your essay and cover up your name, if you're my student, I know who wrote that. Or I know that letter of recommendation because that is personal. It's not just, oh, they went to GIN and they were a leader, etc., and there's no definitive information other than that. Okay? If you can cover up your name and then you just, wow, this is really personal information, and this really shows how, you two are different, or you two are different. You could come from the same school and you did the same project, but what you took away and where you went with it is completely different. And then, go ahead.
So we're going to take the next 10 minutes. I think we have 10 minutes left. That clock is wrong. And we're going to take this time to actually write a story. So we would like you to come away with at least a paragraph that is a description of your attributes and an anecdote, at least one, that describes exactly what Mr. Vandeloo said about your passions and what makes you unique in all of this process. So those of you on the computer, you can just email that to yourself back home. And those on the paper, you'll have your paragraph written that you can also share, like we said, with teachers to let them know what you're passionate about. So when they write about you, they highlight those things also. That you can share with your school counselor, so that when that person writes about you, because they all have to write about you, they will have information about what is important to you, and they'll have your list of attributes. These are all useful in the 5 or 6 different areas that we talked about at the beginning, that you can bring that out. So write a paragraph using an anecdote that describes your passion. Specifically about GIN, how their passion comes out here at GIN.
If you had to write your own letter of recommendation and specifically had a paragraph about GIN,
we can come around and help you. If you're stuck on words or how to get started. about just, here's what I want you to know about me. And then just go. Just tell it all.
And give specific examples.
Yeah, sometimes it's just hard to start writing. You know, sometimes just free writing is fantastic. Just write. Don't worry about mistakes or anything, or if it makes sense. You can put that together at a later time. Just let the thoughts flow and get them on the paper. I think that's the most important process, is the brainstorming process. I'm very slow. I'm very
Well, I did sort of just yeah.
It is.
It's beautiful. I mean, you know, a lot of stuff. No, I'm just saying, you know, a lot of substance. You can start to actually do that. You look up some of the information on essence. Sorry, that keeps looking at it pretty. Sometimes I draw on that because that often relates to passion. I don't see it as a bad.
I understand. I don't do that. I don't believe that.
I can get people.
So after you're done, you have to go to Global Village.
Okay guys, if you guys are on the computer, if you want to save that and then you can email it to yourself. Another couple things to think about. Again, I think what you take from here, we only had 40 minutes. Really, this is a much larger process. Hopefully you have an idea about what you can take with this process. You can refer back to what's online and guide yourself through that process so you can start making it happen. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.